You ever get that feeling that taking care of yourself has somehow become way more complicated than it should be? Between work, life, and trying to stay balanced, it gets a little overwhelming. That's why I've been loving Rula. And I know what you're going to say. I can't afford therapy. That's too expensive. How much does therapy even cost? Must be hundreds of dollars an hour, right? Well, what if I told you that Rula partners with over 100 insurance plans so you could pay as little as $15 per session? That's about the cost of a movie ticket. Here's what I like. Rula doesn't just pair you with any therapist. They take your goals, background, and preferences, then build a curated list of therapists who actually fit what you're working on. They've got more than 15,000 licensed professionals across the country, and most have appointments available as soon as the next day. Plus, Rula checks in over time to make sure the care stays consistent and effective. It's therapy that grows with you. Thousands of people are already using Rula to get affordable, high-quality therapy that's actually covered by insurance. Visit rula.com/cinephobe to get started. After you sign up, you'll be asked how you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know we sent you. That's rula.com/cinephobe. You deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget.
Reggie, I just sold my car online.
Let's go, Grandpa. Wait, you did?
Yep, on Carvana. Just put in the license plate, answered a few questions, got an offer in minutes. Easier than setting up that new digital picture frame.
You don't say.
Yeah, they're even picking it up tomorrow. Talk about fast.
Wow, way to go. So, about that picture frame.
Forget about it. Until Carvana makes one, I'm not interested.
Car selling made easy. On
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
Well, hey, Carly, this is so exciting. Can you believe we're kicking off our first episode?
I know. Let's pack your knives first to have another podcast each week along with the recap with Tom and Sarah. And we're really happy to be bringing you all Track Your Knives.
Yes, and excited to bring all of the listeners along and those that are playing along with the power rankings and the fantasy leagues on findtopchef.com.
It's been really fun seeing how people are engaging, and there are the folks on Reddit who are also playing along. And Kendra, I've just been so impressed with how quickly you've pulled together this site. It has been really cool to see it go from testing to implementation, and now we've got a lot of people involved.
I know. Can you believe it? And I mean, it has been a lot of work. I think we started talking about this in December, maybe, and spent January and February testing this out and getting it launched. And just with the launch of episode 1, there's already over 140 users that are registered for the power rankings. I think about 90 of them got their rankings in on time for episode 1. And then what surprised me even more is that there's over 100 teams created on the fantasy leagues, which is like way bigger than I ever thought. So that was really cool to see that people are really engaged from a fantasy league perspective as well. This week, Top Chef officially premiered, but I know you and I couldn't wait and watched it last week. And so I feel like I'm ready for episode 2. It's been a bit since we've watched it. So excited for that. But before we jump in, let's introduce ourselves so everyone knows who we are.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Carly. Most of you will know me from packyourknives.com. I do a lot of posts on the Substack. I also do some social media. And what I really love is digging into the details of Top Chef from, something I'm excited to do for episode 1 is, answer the question, what was this the shortest elimination challenge ever? And, getting into confessionals and, of course, points. I love all things data, and I'm your gal.
Love it. And I'm Kendra. As I mentioned before, I started the findtopchef.com website. I was getting back into software engineering last year and wanted something fun to do. And I had been starting to keep track of Top Chef restaurants that I was visiting. I thought it'd be great to have a site where I could not just build a wish list while I was traveling to different cities, but also track which ones I joined. And then in the back of my mind, had an idea for the fantasy leagues. I have friends that we've been doing a fantasy league since, I think, season 18. And we have a spreadsheet that hardly ever gets updated. And so I thought it might be fun to have a website. And so it's been cool to see that other people were looking for something similar with this as well. So Carly, I am curious if you were in a car going, I think they said maybe 170 miles per hour, which is insane, around the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Would you have been Kristen and Gail, who looked like they were having the time of their life, or Tom?
I would be on the Kristen and Gail side of things, but like honestly, a lot more scared. I listen, I'm the type of person who only goes 4 miles above the speed limit because I have this fear of like, well, 5, like that's too fast. So I would be pretty scared. What about you?
Yeah, I would like to say I would be Kristen and Gail, but I get extremely motion sick. And so I know I would have been Tom. And I'm not fun to go to carnivals with. And so I would love to be more of a daredevil, but I know myself, and I don't think I would have been having a very good time.
Kindred spirits.
Yes. Well, I loved the first episode. It was fun to have it open in like a big stadium. And I know they've done different locations for that first episode in the past, but this felt very grand. And I thought that was such a great way to open the season. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed hot. The fact that Jonathan bought aloe later on to like heal his sunburn, like that seems actually miserable. But I loved the episode. I thought the food looked delicious. I'm already loving some of these contestants, and I have a lot of love for Kristen now as host, seeing how she supported Nana when she had unfinished plates. It was a good first episode.
Yes. Yeah. I was admittedly definitely crying during that part. I just thought it was so sweet how she didn't baby her. She was very real with her. But just like the empathy she showed and her ability to like connect with her and get her back into a good place. It was just like so heartwarming. I loved it so much.
Yeah. Same. And the food looked really good. I don't know how many of the quick-fire dishes I would have wanted to eat, just because I feel like temperature was an issue, both in terms of the cold dishes and the hot dishes. But the winner, the hush puppy, that did look delicious.
Yeah. That was on the top of my list too. And it actually led me down a rabbit hole. I don't remember who said it, but they said that they're doing a hush puppy because it's a Carolinian staple, which I had no idea. So I did some research on that we don't need to go into, but it's very interesting. There's lots of theories about why it's called a hush puppy. If anyone's curious, I would go check that out.
Yeah, I liked that Lawrence said that because it shows that he's researching the area before the season, which I think is a really smart thing to do.
Yeah, that is a very key point. Well, do we want to start to get into the power ranking results?
Yes, I would love that.
Awesome. Well, before we do that, I just want to remind everyone to sign up. It's find-topchef.com. Episode 1 is already past us, but you can still sign up and join episode 2. You won't be too many points behind. And there's also a bonus question that can help you sort of get back in the rankings. And then the winner, as Sarah mentioned on the Pack Your Knives podcast, gets to come to Paducah and have a chef curated meal at Freight House. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that. And that's going to be a great time. I had a chance to eat at Freight House back in 2020 and meet Sarah. And it was an amazing experience. The food's amazing. Paducah's awesome. So don't miss out on your chance to potentially get that prize. Well, Carly, before we look at everyone else's rankings, how did it look for you?
Well, I did get the eliminated chef correct. I got day
nice.
correct. I do think that I was a little I did listen to the blind draft before I did my power rankings, I think. So I think I got a little influenced by that. And, shout out to Maze, who's our audio producer, who unfortunately his team is out of the fantasy league. But I mostly just wanted to not read too much into the edit, as it's often called, right? Like who spoke the most in the, what's it called? The trailer, right? Like I freaking loved Rhoda being like, I'm not here to find myself. But I was like, I don't want to read too much into that and put her as the winner, but she was a standout in the trailer, but I had her at 10th. And so I just kind of just wishy-washied it just because I was like, you know what? Low stakes minus the Fright House dinner.
Yes.
Yeah. What about you?
Similar. I, in my head, thought I had put Day at the bottom because similar to you, I did listen to Tom and Sarah's blind draft, and that maybe influenced a little bit. But when I went and looked at what I actually did, that was not the case. So I had put Justin at the bottom, which looking back on it and looking at the trailer, he obviously doesn't go home first unless Jennifer had hurt her arm in that first episode. So bad decision there. But I had Day at 13, so not too far off. And then I had Rhoda at 7. I felt like it was a lot of like vibe checks that I was going off of for this one. So when I was doing my own research, I don't know why, but Anthony was the first that sort of popped up at the top of the list from me, just like reading his bio. I was like, I think he's going to win. There's no data that supports that, but that was sort of what I felt. And then Jossie was someone who, reading through like his restaurant menus, it looks amazing. And so that maybe biased him popping up towards the top of the list for me too.
Yeah, I had Jossie first.
Oh.
Yeah, so you and I had sort of similar there. And that's interesting. You mentioned Anthony being your first pick, or your pick for most likely to win the elimination challenge. Before we get into that, I just want to tell everyone that the way that Kendra and I will be talking about this is not in necessarily the order in which it happened in the episode. We're going to be pulling out things about the power rankings and in future episodes about fantasy leagues that look across everyone, so we can get a sense of like, how are we as a community doing in this game, but also like, are we seeing the same show? How do we interpret it? And so it's not going to be linear. So it just expect that. But I do want to say that, I guess before getting into the Anthony of it all, there were 5 people who on their power rankings, they got the winner correct. They chose Rhoda, and that is Jordan E., Jennifer, Hi Rhoda to winning, Dustin, and Chantal. So well done. And there were 11 of us, myself included, who got the eliminated chef correct, who had put Day as most likely to be eliminated. And that is Top Dog, Tangmeister, Rebecca, No Reservations, Michelle, Creamy Risotto, Cosmic Cave Soup, Chef Butter, C. Miaz, Bishop, myself, and Barbara C. So well done. You want to talk about the people who got the bonus question? I have to say there were 3 of us, myself included, who didn't see the bonus question in time, so I didn't answer the bonus question.
Yes, don't miss the bonus question. So this week's bonus question was, who will be the first chef to get the confessional? And so that was Day who got the first confessional. So I was actually very surprised that she was then the first to go home. But we had, apologize if I mispronounce these, Wilder Joyce, Triple B, Spence K, who is also our leader, Serafina, Jonathan F, and BBBKF, who got this right, Kara and Allison K. So congratulations to all of you. The bonus question actually bumped Spence up to the top, I noticed. So that is a very important question to answer. So next time. I think it's now you have to answer it to submit, so it won't catch you off guard anymore.
Perfect. Great. Well, going back to Anthony. So we had 87 people submit rankings. And Anthony was the most commonly picked chef as the person most likely to win. And he was also the first round pick in the draft that Tom and Sarah did. So if you haven't listened to that episode, do that. It's really fun. That's also just like a mix of vibe check and deep research because Tom and Sarah are nerds that way, and it's delightful. So check that out. But, I do think that overall people are really liking Anthony.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was curious if the Pack Your Knives draft had anything to do with him sort of popping up to the top. But I do think like his background with Marcus Samuelson is probably a big piece of potentially him ending up at the top. He also just seems really chill, and he kind of gives like Tristan vibes a little bit, like here at the beginning, like he's not overly showy, sort of a little bit in the background from a personality perspective here in the first episode. But I think some of that might be what people are looking at there.
Yeah, I was surprised because there are two Marcus Samuelson network chefs, and that's also includes Sherry. And what was interesting about Sherry is that she was listed kind of low on on where people put her in the power rankings. She was only chosen as the most likely to win 3 times and was chosen most likely to be eliminated 9 times. And so I think there is a je ne sais quoi about Anthony. Sherry there was a really wide range in statistical terms, the standard deviation, meaning that a lot of people really liked her and a lot of people didn't. And there weren't a lot of, like across the 89 of us, there was not as much agreement. And so I thought that was interesting, just seeing how the two chefs tied to Marcus Samuelson are connected like that.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I thought there was one more with a tie, but I don't remember who that was. But yeah, it's interesting how different people are perceiving that.
Anthony and Brittany having been in the same dorm in culinary school.
That killed me when she was like, oh my God, no recollection.
That's been me.
Yeah, same.
Except it wasn't on television.
Well, I'm curious. So we know Anthony was the top pick, and we had just 5 that guessed Rhoda. Like, who else sort of popped up towards the top of the rankings for those who they thought would win?
Yeah, so there was one other chef that that a lot of people put as the most likely to win the elimination challenge, and that was Oscar. And then there was another big gap, and then a couple that were all very similar in numbers. And so we've got Anthony, then Oscar, and then between 7 and 9 people chose Dwin, Lawrence, and Brandon as the most likely to win the elimination challenge in episode 1. I have to say, those 5 chefs, kind of love them.
Yeah.
I'm loving Dwin. I'm loving Lawrence. I'm loving Oscar. Just like the fact that he's the local chef. Brandon and Jonathan, whatever. We talked about this last time with Sarah and Tom. I'm a twin. always going to love them.
Yeah, we'll see how they play out. Like it felt a little performative. Over the top, them yelling at each other in the quick fire challenge.
It's not snack time.
Yeah, right. I'll be curious to see like how that plays out. But I mean, they both showed up for that elimination challenge, so I think they're probably around for a while.
Yeah, and Dwin and Brandon were the only chefs to do desserts for the elimination challenge. And part of me is wondering if we think that now, like knowing desserts and having some amount of a pastry background is, a new, not a required skill, but like a huge leg up. Like I remember Buddha talking about that in his 2 seasons. And I don't know, starting out the gate with 2 desserts was pretty strong. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too, because first it sets them apart in the challenge from the others, whereas you had several people doing pork and several people doing fish. And so this gave the judges something very different that I think does help in those challenges. And so, yeah, I think having that skill set is going to really help them. And too, when you get a little bit further into the competition, when you do have challenges that really do require desserts, or the ingredient that you have would lend itself really well to a dessert, I think that does give you a big leg up for sure.
Mm-hmm. Although I don't know if they'll get like sort of relegated then to doing desserts in Restaurant Wars if they make it there. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone who ended up doing well in the episode, but not wasn't as strongly performing in the power rankings was actually Jonathan. No one chose him as most likely to win, and only one person chose him as most likely to be eliminated. So he was like really quite solidly in the middle. But, when we look at fantasy leagues, like he got his teams a lot of points. And so I think that for people whose fantasy leagues started prior to episode 1, like that's really good for those teams. And then we'll see how I'll probably, yes. You know what? I'll do an analysis of teams that drafted before episode 1 and teams that drafted after episode 1 to see the sort of distribution of
changes.
Chefs in those like 2 groups.
Yeah. That would be really interesting. Why do you think that is? Like, I know Brandon, I hope I'm getting the brothers right. Brandon has a big TikTok and Instagram following, and I know he does a lot on there, where Jonathan, I believe, is like an executive chef or it oversees a set of restaurants. Like, do you think that factored into why there was such like a big discrepancy in how the brothers were ranked?
Yes, I think the social media presence, but also James Beard semifinalists or the long lists. Brandon has 1 or 2 of those. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. So that's my guess too, is that like accolades coming into play.
Yeah. I think that's really fair.
Hello, listener. It's producer Maze here to talk to you about Quince cookware. If you're like me, you love to get in the kitchen, whip something up for yourself, maybe a nice little grilled cheese sandwich, maybe a little French omelet. And there's nothing that kills the joy of cooking faster than unreliable pans. It's not cooking evenly. You get some sticking. It's a nightmare to clean. Luckily for me, I have a stainless steel 3-quart saute pan from Quince that I use for everything. And it's super easy to use on the stove and then pop right in the oven. But let me tell you a little secret. It's actually affordable because with Quince, you're working directly with the factory, straight to the makers, no middlemen, no retail markup, no packaging costs, no fancy storefronts, no big marketing budgets, just quality cookware. Right now, get free shipping and 365-day returns when you go to quince.com/dings, D-I-N-G-S. That's a full year to cook with it and love it. And you will. Now available in Canada too. Don't keep replacing cookware that frustrates you. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings.
LinkedIn is pretty great at a lot of things, like helping you tap into the latest trends and insights in your field. We cannot stop your coworker from tapping her pencil. LinkedIn can help you find new jobs that align with your career goals. We cannot help you find the source of that weird smell in the office fridge. Ew. And while we can't stop your coworkers from bringing their hobbies into the office, LinkedIn can help you bring your career to the next level. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
So we talked about Oscar being at the top and him being a local chef, but we also have another local chef, Brittany, who didn't pop to the top of there. Where did she end up landing among the chefs? I'm curious, like, why?
So her median rank was actually 6th. So she was kind of
pretty high
there in terms of, so that would be the 6th most likely to be the winner of the elimination challenge. A kind of a decent amount, like a 10th of people, 8, chose her to be most likely to be eliminated. But yeah, so she was one of the chefs with kind of a wide range of people's responses. I think there are big characters who were yet to get to know they're bigger characters. So they're folks who we have yet to get to know. I will say I did watch, there's, on Peacock, there was a behind the scenes, well, it wasn't behind the scenes, but like, having interviews with people during the interview process. And I thought that was nice, like kind of got to know each of the chefs more, including Brittany. And yeah, so she was good, but like people, like the 90-ish of us were a little uncertain as a whole.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Cause I think I had her about 5 and it looks like you had her at 2. So we both had her pretty high on the list.
I do remember that I ranked her 2nd because I'm like, hell yeah, home chef.
Yes.
Or not
same.
home chef,
yeah.
home state chef.
Yeah. Well, we talked a lot about everyone we thought who might win, but where was everyone thinking about the bottom of the list and who might go home?
Yeah, so this one was kind of interesting, sort of the way in which it felt like Anthony was overwhelmingly the person most likely to win. Seeger was the he was most commonly the person selected to be eliminated. 22 people chose him as that. And that was 22 people. And then what was interesting is that Justin and Day, there was a huge gap. And then Justin and Day were each at 11 and 10 people. And Nana as well. So 10, 11 people each chose those 3. And even though Seeger was the most commonly selected, those other 3 were also in the bottom, the 3 of the 5 in their sweet potato groups. So that was kind of interesting to me how that ended up kind of aligning with the episode.
Yeah. That is very interesting. I do have a theory about why so many people put Seeger at the bottom, and it might not be right, but the rankings were in alphabetical order. And so Seeger just happens to be at the bottom. So if people didn't move their rankings around too much, that puts Anthony at the top and Seeger at the bottom. And so that might just be one theory of why Seeger showed up at the bottom that much. Or people really just thought that he didn't have the skills coming into this. And I know you have a theory too, so I'm curious what you think.
Yeah. So I did look up the alphabetical thing. And in terms of being truly alphabetical, only one person was actually alphabetical.
There goes
but what I could have done was like look at sort of the ends, and I didn't do that because, you know, maybe people shuffle in the middle and leave the rest. But I think there's that. And I don't know, like maybe just the vibes of someone who's so confident that's like, I'm the next winner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. Maybe we want more humble people. Maybe it would be different coming from someone else.
That's fair. Yeah, I feel like he kind of gives a little bit of Vinny vibes from last season, like a little bit overconfident coming in. But I mean, Vinny showed up for a lot of it, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Nice.
Another thing about Seeger is he's applied 11 or 12 times. Like that is incredible perseverance. And just like, this is something that he really wants.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know we've been talking a lot about this past episode. Let's look at the future. How are you thinking about your own rankings going into episode 2?
Yeah. I am thinking about them in kind of the realm of who was in the middle to the top. It's pretty rare. Actually, you had me look this up. How many times does the person who wins the first episode elimination challenge win the second elimination challenge? And so I looked at this across all seasons of Top Chef, and included, like in season 5, episode 1, they had both a quickfire elimination and an elimination. And I only counted the quickfire elimination in this. But of all of those seasons, there's only been twice where someone has won both the first challenge where someone's eliminated and the second challenge where someone's eliminated. And it was Angelo in All Stars 8, season 8. Yeah, because he was in All Stars 17 too. And then Chewy in Texas, season 9. And so there are people who go on streaks or win a lot. And we've got a lot of that data up on packyourknives.com in various forms. And I'll, of course, be, comparing folks across seasons. But I'm probably not putting Rhoda at the top, to be honest.
Yeah, same. I have her pretty high, but not right at the top. Just, I think winning 2 in a row right at the beginning is pretty challenging to do. But just in case, make sure she's toward the top.
Yeah. And, Tom's going to know her name now because she won.
Yes. So he's got one name down so far.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that too. And just thinking about, at least for these first few episodes, like who seems to manage their time well and who seems to sort of adapt to the challenge. And so I think like this early, those are kind of some of what you have to go off of. And so I think it will be interesting to see how Nana does this upcoming episode. Like, is time management going to be a big issue for her? Or was it really like just peeling all of those sweet potatoes that like is what took her down, and outside of that, she would totally be fine getting everything ready. So it'll be interesting to see if she's going to have time management problems or not. But I do have her towards the bottom. Just that was a big time management issue. And so that's going to be hard, I think, to overcome if that's kind of how she's working in the kitchen. And then I think the same for Brittany. She didn't make
getting the pork on like with 20 minutes left or whatever.
and putting like all of them on, it's like cut down on the amount of pork you're giving them and maybe just try to get 2 in a good spot instead of everything. So I think having her towards the bottom too. And then I'm tempted to just keep Jennifer and Justin toward the bottom because we don't know which episode will be the one where she potentially makes the decision to go home. So that will be interesting to see. But then I think for the top, like looking at those who did well this episode and who seemed to really comprehend the challenge and aren't, I think this first one, sometimes they come in with like something they already make often. And so who was able to kind of make something that seemed unique and fit the challenge. So that's kind of where I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. I think those are all good thoughts, especially about time management. Yeah. And I'm also going to be doing my work fantasy league. We actually, so as we're recording, it is before episode 2 airs. So Kendra and I don't wait. Oh no. Oh wait, no, it's not. Sorry. Top Chef airs on Mondays, not Thursdays.
Yes.
I just had a panic moment of I need to do my draft. Why are we meeting on Thursday when it airs? But then I thought it doesn't matter.
I know. It's throwing me off it being on Monday.
Throwing me off. Yeah. But Mondays.
Yes.
Mondays. Yeah. So I have a work fantasy league. We're meeting tomorrow, Thursday, to draft. We're each going to get only 2 chefs. Okay. And yeah, something I'm also working on is across all the fantasy leagues, because there are different number of chefs per team within a league, or actually everyone within a league, right, has the same amount, but the leagues each kind of differ in how many they have. And so I'll be looking to see if I can find a standardized score to see if we can compare across leagues.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. So what order are you in your draft?
I don't know yet. I think we're going to just draw out of a hat.
What's your order of chefs to take in the top 3?
Yeah. I think Lawrence for sure. I just get such good vibes from him. Yeah. I would say Lawrence, Dwen, and then I have Jonathan as my winner pick because I'm like, younger twin. And so I kind of want to like just die on that particular hill.
That's fair.
But also like, I don't know. We'll see. So off the top of my head, those are the 3.
Love that.
What about you?
I'm nervous to give mine away because I think my friends will listen to this before we do our draft. So maybe I'll keep that a secret until next week.
Okay. I see your gameplay.
I'm very competitive. I've never won though. I've never won our league. Though I can often get the second place chef. That's my go-to, but I can't ever get the winner.
Yeah. Are there any, because there are a lot of leagues on find-topchef.com now, which is very exciting. What are some of the most fun names you've seen?
Oh my gosh. I should have pulled those up. Maybe we can talk about those next time because I have a bunch of ones that I love. And my favorites are always where they take like the name of someone and fit it into their team name. So there's one that's like the Potato. So that one's fun, but I'll pull them for next week. Okay. There's also some really inappropriate ones, so we'll keep those ones off the list. But yeah, I've been getting some good giggles reading through some of the names, so I'll pull those in next week.
Cool.
Awesome. Anything we missed that we should have talked about?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we're gonna just see a lot this season how people either think similarly when we see the same episode or different, or how much of a risk. I think it's going to also come down to risk taking. Yeah. So I'm very excited to see what Top Chef has to offer, as well as Pack Your Knives and us here at Track Your Knives.
Yes. I love that name. Thank you, Tom. Well, before we wrap up, just a reminder, submit your rankings. They're due 5 minutes before the episode airs. So you have plenty of time to get those in before Monday, 8:30 Eastern. So make sure you get those in. Don't forget, the grand prize is a dinner with Sarah Bradley at Freight House with your friends. And then you can hang out in Paducah afterwards, and that will be a great time. And then this week's bonus question is, which chef will be the first in the episode to name drop another famous chef that they have worked for? So be on the lookout for that. Anything else you want to wrap up with, Carly?
Yes. Please sign up for the fantasy leagues. You can create your own. I'm very excited to say that we have 6 full Pack Your Knives fantasy league teams. But there's a lot of you who need to get me your picks. A number of you have connected with me on Reddit or Instagram or the Substack even. There's a chat function there. So please let me know, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to, as your commissioner, assign the chefs to you. So I'm going to quickly rattle this off. If you hear your name, get in touch. Okay. We've got Jeremy R., Jonathan F., Allison, Daniel R., Michael, Jennifer, Corey, Emily J., PFV, Mindy D., Dante D., and Hannah A.
Get your chefs in.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up. We haven't practiced this, but maybe we'll conclude and sign off by collectively saying the name of our podcast.
All right. This has been
Track Your Knives.